Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, bringing you the Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 DLC Battle for Endor. And this is a video walkthrough on Unleashed difficulty, and as you can tell, I'm going to be running past every encounter on this DLC as quickly as I possibly can because it's not very fun. In fact, this DLC is one of the worst examples of level design I've seen in a long time, and you know, I've played a lot of games. And the reason for that is they just throw a ton of enemies at you and absolutely nothing else. So if you run as quickly as you can up this hill, be careful though, you will get tagged a lot because they shoot all the time and they do a ton of damage. But if you get to the top of here, you will get a checkpoint. So that's not too bad at all. And no idea what I'm doing here. Oh, the game has reset my inverted configuration, so I have to keep changing that back, which fucks me off because that's just something you shouldn't have to worry about. But anyhow, once you're up here, kill all the people on this little plateau and then carry on with the force abilities to get through the demo. But you can't, what the fuck am I on about, get through this DLC. You can't actually do these R trigger movements unless you're free of enemies, because as you can see, if anything hits you once it will knock you down, and it's kinda gay, but once you've done that you can just carry on and just skip all the fights and just be as evasive as you can, jump like a bitch, jump like a squirrel, just, you know, go for it, don't hold back, and it'll make the first part of this extremely easy, because if you stand and fight and everything, it's just going to take a lot longer than it should do, and they're not fun to fight because they've all got guns, so they're all shooting you when you're trying to attack them, and it's cheap, really cheap. And what this level smacks to me of is this was originally intended to be in the game, but for budget reasons, time restraints, for whatever reason, they couldn't quite get it in there, and that's why they released it as DLC for super cheap. And I don't blame them really, because they released a premium game that costs, you know, 40-50 quid, and they released it with only 5 levels, 5 short levels as well. So it's unmistakable, really. They can't, unforgivable should I say, not unmistakable. But this is just a little puzzle, and it can be a bit fussy to get the log on here because the controls aren't great when it comes to moving stuff sometimes. And just hop across and continue onwards. And when you get into this lower section, you're going to actually be taking on Ewoks. And that might sound like a really cool thing, but for some reason they've somehow managed to take all the fun out of killing Ewoks. There is an achievement for dropkicking, 10 of them though, which I thought was pretty funny. But the Ewoks are cheap. They just rush you and get you in a stun. And that's about it, and then they throw rocks at you from a distance. But they just, see them, just run at you, dash, do the stun, and they just try and get you in a stun lock, so they're about as fun as cock and ball torture. So I just advise running away, evading them, and then electrocuting them, because they do a lot of damage and they're a fucking nuisance. And this moment right now, I'm not too sure if you've got to kill a certain amount of Ewoks to push the checkpoint, to push the game onwards, or what, but there seems to be a hell of a lot of them, so just evade, be as defensive as you can, avoid everything they try and do, and just use your force powers, basically. I love that little noise the Starkiller makes when he gets hit. But yeah, electrocute, play intelligently, watch out for the projectiles because they're a bunch of bitches. Fucking Ewoks. But there's not a lot of complexity to this DLC, and it's very short. So what we're basically going to be doing is we'll do this section, we'll do a couple of turret sections, then we'll fight Han Solo and Chewbacca in AT-ST, which makes even less sense than that sentence. And then you go into some kind of facility that's utter bullshit and ridiculously boring, and then you take on Princess Leia. So, you know, if you're looking forward to an interesting and fun piece of content, you're probably not going to find it here unless you have extremely low standards. But, you know, I don't know what kind of gamer you are. You might like anything put in front of you. You might be the type of person that, you know, plays Madden every year and thinks it's the most innovative game ever. I don't know. And in all honesty, I don't fucking understand Madden because it's it's a sport that my country doesn't follow. But when you come here, it's going to introduce you to these turrets, and they basically track you with a laser beam, and the best thing to do is to dodge them, because to kill them you have to destroy a box that controls the shield, and then you have to beat them up. But it's so much quicker to evade them and just boost past them, like I'm doing now. Skip everything, don't bother standing about, you're just going to get tagged, and if you do get killed, you've probably pushed a checkpoint, so you're not losing progress. I mean, look at them chucking grenades at me, that was pretty bad. But just keep on going forward, keep pushing the checkpoints, and shouldn't be too bad. And it's just, I mean, I didn't have any fun fighting any enemies on this DLC, so this is, for me, is the easiest and, you know, most stress-free way to do this section. It's not very honourable, but at the end of the day, this game is not great, in my opinion. I'm not a fan, but I'm going to be doing walkthroughs to games regardless of my feelings on them, purely because people need help on games that I might necessarily not like. And the more I can put onto my channel, the wider appeal it has to all sorts of people. So that's the main reason I'm going to be putting up as much as I can. And I'm hopefully going to be putting up a little different gameplays in the next few days, because I've finished the Star Wars Force Unleashed now, and it's going to be a couple days till Bulletstorm comes out. It's going to be a couple days before I can get that up. But in between then, it's probably going to be a little bit of Call of Duty and a whole lot of other things. But this boss fight is really, really stupid, because what happens is he's going to shoot at you from a long distance, he's going to fire his missiles at you, he's going to do moves you can't block, so you have to evade them like that one then, and he's got a lot of life, and the checkpoints on this section are kind of weird. So the best thing I would advise to do is to electrocute him and throw your lightsabers at him, and just diversify how you do that, because sometimes one is more beneficial than the other depending on how much time you have to attack and how much time you have to recover from the move and evade. You can block everything that he's doing from standard like this. You can block the red gunshots, but sometimes you will take damage because the block is not 100% foolproof. If he does the strafing green shots, you can't dodge them and they will hurt you. So you'll notice I jump over those ones, but it's just it's a war of attrition. It's like many of the boss fights on this game. It's repeat ad nauseum until it dies. And unlike, you know, your God of Wars and your other combat games of that nature, it's not as fun to grind out the boss fights. It's just frustrating. And what they do now is Han Solo starts firing rockets at you, which is actually a good thing, because as you can see, you can use the rockets against Chewie. And then a bunch of Ewoks spawn, and the joy of the Ewok spawning is you can kill them and get life from them. Because they don't really do much, they're just nuisances more than anything, because they fuck up with your lock-on, so just be aware of that. And I do apologise if you can keep hearing me swallow. I've got a pretty sore throat. I've had it for a while. It's an absolute nuisance. I don't know what kind of virus it is, but it's a pain in the balls, basically. But I'm still going to do the commentaries because, you know, treat this shit like work. Although I do enjoy it, so that's not an excuse. But like I said, just keep electrocuting him, keep firing his projectiles back, just do what you can, and he should fall eventually. But this is just going to be me repeating the strategies that I've just endowed to you, so I'm probably going to talk a little bit off topic, because in the background I have Rain Man on. And for anybody wondering, Rain Man is a pretty awesome film featuring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. It was done in 1988, and it's basically about an autistic brother of a self-centered salesman. And Dustin Hoffman plays the autistic brother, and Tom Cruise plays the self-centered, egocentric kind of entrepreneur. And it's kind of a, I wouldn't so much say coming of age, but realizing to cherish the things that you have rather than the more vestigial aspects of life. And it's some really good performances, and it's an interesting little comedy slash drama. And I really like Dustin Hoffman. I have a hard-on for Dustin Hoffman. The dude is a legend. Everything about him is just a fantastic actor. And I really like Tom Cruise as well, aside from the fact, you know, he's a giant wanker and he believes in Scientology, which is the biggest crock of shit I've seen since, I don't know, Teletubbies. But I mean, for American viewers, you're probably not going to know what the fuck that means, so I should probably say something equally as ridiculous. Something clearly ridiculous. Probably something like Biggest Loser, because I know your guys get that shit, where a bunch of fat dudes go on telly and get pretty much slagged off and condescended and patronised to the face and just openly mocked by really skinny, toned people in leotards, and then they cry and chomp a Mars bar at the end because they couldn't catch the weight that they wanted to get to. It's pretty much as pathetic as that. And we just killed Han Solo, and that's the end of this video, so tangent ends, as does the video. So guys, thanks for watching my shit, and I'll see you in the second part of this Battle for Endor DLC. You take care now.